Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie and I'm just being me in a world that isn't. We're bringing back the on the table reviews, and this is the Soul Fukai. I rode this in a wide variety of conditions, everything from some pretty good groomers to a little bit of powder. I used my Union Atlas bindings, my Ride Torrent boots, and my Ride Fuse boots. As far as sizing goes, I felt like I was matched evenly for this board. This can definitely handle a bigger boot than my size 9s, but it felt okay for my weight and my size 9s could turn it very well, even though it's pretty wide and pretty long. Now, some things that might make you want to swipe right. This drives really hard off the tail. It's more big mountain than it looks. It's not as playful, surfy, turny as you would think. It's got really good chatter absorption, very damp for what it is, yet it's still very poppy. Some things that might make you want to swipe left is this is not that turny. You think this might be a great low angle powder board, but I didn't find it to be that. I think this lives more in that big mountain range. If you want a low angle pow board, you want to look at the Shift or the Blower. Or if you just want a pow board, that's where you want to look. So let's talk shape. Very tapered, very directional, very set back to the swallowtail. I feel very set back on board, but I don't feel like I'm riding the tail and the nose is out of control in front of me. This has a very capable, more centered feel than you would think for this type of ride. When it comes to the camber profile, you can see there is, first off, a healthy bow of camber. There is a lot of pop here. It has camber to the tail, so it does feel pretty connected to the snow right here. Almost like a twin fin would in the ocean, but a more performance-oriented modern twin fin, not that old turny twin fin. And then the camber goes out into a little bit of early rise, but some spoon nose. You can see there is a lot of spoon nose. So this feels more on the technical side, but you don't have that catchy nose, but you do have a more catchy tail. But overall, I felt the need to steer this somewhat similar to the Blower that had camber in the tail. Now, in comparison to something like the Shift you see here, you can see there's a little bit of lift in the tail. Not a lot, not like the Tree and Trees, but a little bit of lift in the tail to just make it feel a little less catchy. When it comes to edge hold, you have very competent grip. I don't know what they're doing at Soul to make these boards grip so well and feel so competent, but they're doing good things without any crazy disruption in the side cut. It's just a normal old side cut. All right, here's this guy flexing the Fukai. Whoa. Not a lot of give right here. Feel some give up top here, but I feel most give at the very tip of the tail where it's curved up, not where the board is engaged on snow. It's a very poppy flex though. And to speak a little bit more about the flex, it was pretty easy to lean back and butter into the tail. If you're into nose butters, the spoon nose is just gonna spin you out of it. So don't worry about that. But most people who get this board aren't gonna be into that. So that's not a big deal. The pop from this and the ollie power, the drive out of the turn that you get from this type of flex personality is really unique, and I was surprised at how easy it was to access this pop and how much return you got. So even an average rider like myself could access this very easily, but then a ripper could access this and get just as much out of this pop, if not a lot more. When it comes to uneven terrain, it doesn't have that incredibly stiff feel that powers through soft, uneven snow like a champ. It can bounce a little bit, but it's very manageable, very doable. And after a little bit of time on this board, you get used to it quickly. And I think out of all the boards, like in comparison to the Shift and the Blower and many others, this does a better job than those boards. In comparison to similar boards like this that are very stiff, very big mountain boards, it might not power through as fast. But what I love about this board is it has so much easy pop, but it has this like oscillate technology, they call it. And what that does is it absorbs chatter. So when you see hard, bumpy groomers, micro bumpy stuff, this just handles it no problem, quiets down the edge so you can keep that edge committed and turn through harder snow than you would think. It doesn't send that chatter up into your joints, so you get this nice balance between pop and really good chatter absorption. I really like this flex personality in all conditions. Great all-day ride. When it comes to pointing it, this side cut seems to allow a straight line really well. It likes to go fast, it likes to go straight, it likes to go down the line, but it's not gonna fight you on a cross the groomer carve either. I don't think it has that stiff, quiet, almost dead dampness for those who really truly like to point it, but this is still gonna be very competent for most people who like moderate to higher speeds, especially in good powder. When it comes to base glide, I think this base is pretty good. It's not amazing. When well waxed, it keeps its speed very well. I'd love to see one of the higher end, easy gliding, easily repairable black bases. Now, when it comes to turning and carving, yeah, I like this turn. You really want to steer into that camber with the back foot, but you can drive off the front foot pretty well. And the spoon nose doesn't feel that washy. I did just feel more comfortable committing to this full camber area more, and I felt like there was just excellent spring out of the turn. This initiates a turn pretty quick for a 168, but it's still not super fast. And I just loved the spring out of the turn on good groomers. Now, when it comes to powder, there is very good directional float. You have a spoon nose that does a great job giving you a fun turning experience. But I will say this, I was surprised. I thought this would be the powder board for the day. I thought this is what I'd want to ride the whole time, especially in low angle powder that you see at Mount Bachelor. But to my surprise, I had more fun on the Shift 59. I would have had more fun on the Blower 162. I thought those did a little better, felt a little more floaty, felt a little more easy. This felt like it would be happier in steeper, wide open terrain, just making big, down the line, hard, beautiful, long, drawn out S-turns. That's what I think this would be best at. Not that slashy, turny, quick stuff that we might have to do here and there at Bachelor, or the low angle stuff that I thought we'd have to do. But nevertheless, you can get very good directional float. And with a 23-inch stance width with a full-size disc to the back inserts, you can get 8.625 inches back from center of board. So you're really back there riding the tail. And that's from measuring from here. From the swallowtail, it's nothing, but we're gonna measure from there because there's so much tail going on here. So this has a lot of directional float, a decent amount of taper, a big old spoon nose. But again, if you're thinking something that performs in powder, you might wanna look at the Shift or the Blower. So overall, I had a really fun time with the Fukai. I think it did a great job for what it is. I'm personally a little bit more of a Shift kind of guy. I love that new Shift. I love the way it turns on groomers. I love the way it floats in powder. Every time I got off this and got on the Shift, I felt like I was at home with that board, where this isn't quite my style. But if you're a big mountain, steeper mountain kind of rider, you want a board with lots of pop, lots of drive, a good camber feel off the tail, but a fun spoon nose turning experience off the nose, this could work for you. And I just really love that balance of pop and dampness. I think Soul's doing a lot of really cool things lately.